Welcome back to my weekly update for Blight League. This is week 2, end of week 2 I believe, and I've built my new character. It's kind of a zoo summoner, just kind of using a lot of things that they changed, and I'm liking it a lot. It had the smoothest leveling I've done in a very long time with all the changes they've done. So I'll just go over the build and kind of show you guys what it's looking like, and then a little bit update on my atlas and what I've been doing. So this was inspired by Octavian's starting build that he did, and it's built around Cyclone with cast while channeling. So you're not actually doing most of the damage, you're just using it for utility. So it's got cast while channeling Spirit Offering as my offering for the Fizz to Chaos conversion, and the Energy Shield and Resistance. And then I'm also using Poacher's Bark, that way my minions can get frenzy charges from kill, and this also gives mana on hit and life on hit, so I can help sustain my mana and help me healing with my Cyclone. And then I also have Withering Touch and Poison, because my major damage is Herald of Agony. Herald of Agony works, you get 1 stack of Wither every time you poison somebody, and the more stacks you get, the more damage they do. So Herald of Agony, when you have it reserved, gives you 20% chance to poison on a hit. Poison gives 60, so that brings me all the way up to 80. In the end, I'm going to want to get 20% just on my claw. I'm just using this one because I got it to drop, mostly just because I care about the attack speed. And then Wither gets withered on enemies, which makes them take increased chaos damage. And so Herald of Agony does 40% converted chaos, so that just increases the chaos damage that I deal. And then Spirit Offering makes all my minions do chaos, so do more chaos damage there. And then for Herald of Agony, what I've got Vicious Projectiles, damage on full life, and minion damage. Damage on full life works really well because the minion from Herald of Agony is immune to damage, so it's always going to be at full life. And then its main attack is a projectile attack, which is why you do Vicious Projectiles. And then minion damage is the other most damaging support for it. Got it in a Starconja's head just because this gives me the most life and gives me the dexterity that I need for Herald of Agony, because it is a dex gem and I am using a lot of dex gems and I'm playing a Guardian, so I don't give very much dexterity, especially since my amulet doesn't give me any, because I'm having to use it for the resistance, or I would be using an amulet that gave me more dexterity. But Herald of Agony is the main damage setup, and then Cyclone's the utility setup that I've got going. I'm also using zombies. I mostly wanted zombies just to help me take damage. They do deal a decent amount of damage just because I've got so many of them. I've got 8, but all the supports are just to help them stay alive. So I've got minion life, meat shield, and elemental army. So minion life just gives them more life. Meat shield makes them take 24% less damage right now, and then they stay right next to me and get to do an extra 29% more damage to things near me. Since I'm always cycloning on top of the target, then it's most likely to do. And then they have 20% chance to taunt, so the monsters don't focus me, they focus the minions. And it helps increase my survivability quite a bit. And then elemental army gives them resistance and also gives them max res. The other nice thing is they inflict exposure, which is minus 10% res to whatever they do the most damage, which currently is lightning. And so they take a little bit more damage from all my other minions because of these gloves that I've got. These gloves convert all your minion damage from Fizz to an element, so the exposure helps all my minions do more damage. And then I've also got Carrion Golem. The reason why I'm doing Carrion Golem is I wanted a Feeding Frenzy buff, and I figured the best way to do Feeding Frenzy is with Carrion Golem and Summon Phantasm support. So the way this works is the Carrion Golem is aggressive because of Freezing Frenzy, so he goes to kill people. Summon Phantasm has a summon Phantasm on kill, and since he doesn't do much damage, I have him with Culling Strike, so he can get the kill more often. And he also does it on minions. And then best way, Feeding Frenzy, you have a chance to get it on attack. So Phantasms, you can summon 10 Phantasms, so you'll have 11 minions that are super aggressive that are going to attack a lot. So my uptime on Feeding Frenzy is pretty much 100%. And then Carrion Golem does more damage for each non-golem near them. And so if I get all my 10 Phantasms, then it caps that out. But I also have zombies to help cap that out. But this is pretty much for Feeding Frenzy, and Carrion Golem dies every so often. Not too much though, because I've got enough life scaling on my minions, but every so often I have to resummon him. He's the only one that really ever dies. Like if you're doing an Elemental Reflect map, he might die, but zombies aren't going to because they've got a ton of resistances, and I'm just scaling their life and the amount they don't take damage, and then Herald of Agony's immune, so pretty much when you're doing an LE Reflect, all you have to worry about is the Carrion Golem, having to respawn him every so often. And then I'm also running a Hatred with Generosity, just because I don't want to do cold damage, so I run the Generosity. It also helps my minions do more extra cold damage. And then I'm also running a Convocation. This is useful just to help get Herald of Agony inside proximity shields, since it's a ranged thing if you teleport it in. And all your zombies sometimes get distracted. If you just pull them all to you, they'll just attack whoever is closest to you, so it helps me get rid of bosses. And then I'll go over equipment. So my claw, all I really care about is the increased attack speed, and then it's got fire damage on it. I just want to make sure that it doesn't have lightning or cold, which it doesn't. It's just doing the fire damage for the element, because we are using elemental equilibrium. Sargonja's Head gives me the most amount of life. I will hopefully get a +2 or +3 minion gems helmet, which would be the endgame helmet, just to help boost the Herald of Agony level, because it does scale with levels very well. Using a Tabula Rasa, just because it gives me my 6 link that I need. But I will be switching to a Belly of a Beast. I'm just waiting for my quality to get up, then I'll try to 6 link that, because quality increases the chance that you get a 6 link. So I've got Hillick in Fortification, so he does armor quality, so I just need to get him one more rank and then run that. And so I'm working on that for that. And then Dryad Script's really nice. It changes all of physical damage to another element, so you don't have to worry about Fizz Reflect for your minions. And then you don't have to worry about any Reflect for you, just because you don't do enough damage. But it does have chance to convert to Chaos per white socket. So that's what I'm hoping for. I'm going to use Furichi, try to get 3 of these to be white, and then 1 to be green, because then I'm only doing cold with Hatred and the 1 green, and then not doing lightning, but most of it is converted to chaos because I've got the withered, so actually chaos does the most damage. If you're in trade league, you might be able to get to buy enough of these that you can corrupt them to get 4 whites, and that'd be a big damage increase for that. Then I've just got boots with 30% move speed, crafted life, and that's about it. This just using it for the life and resistance. For your shield, you can get life resistance if I'm using a pure energy shield base, because energy shield bases give increased move speed. They can also give increased attack speed. Other than that, you're just going to want to go chance for block. And then amulet, just using that. You would want to get dex on it, but I'm not lucky enough to get something with dex and resistances on it quite yet. And then rings, just using them for the resistance. And then using a granite because I am using Ball Molten Shell, so just higher armor you can get, the more defense it gives. I also have that with increased duration. And then I'm using Vigilant Strike to get Fortify, just because I can't fit Fortify in these links with doing enough damage. If I was on Hardcore, I would probably drop Withering Touch for Fortify, or drop a Poacher's Mark to get Fortify and use like a Victoria's Charity, because that way my minions can get the frenzy charges and I wouldn't have to worry about running Poacher's Mark. And And then Endgame Claw, what you can do is you can get the Twins Claw. It gives you a Gemling, a Celebration, which is the highest attack speed roll you can get normally. So I'm working on getting those. Those drop in the Ivory Temple and in Moon Temple. So I've been farming those, try to get those to drop. Haven't been too lucky, but now that Blight League's dropping more stuff, I'm looking forward to doing some of that. And then pretty much got a Basalt, Quicksilver, and Sulfur. Using Sulfur just for the Consecrated Ground, because it helps out a little bit. I'm thinking that I might switch to a Stibnite, just to get the Blind, because Blind gives me 50% dodge at a minimum, or evasion, so I can take a little bit less damage, and then getting Curse there, Freeze there, and then bleed on my Life Flask. And then one thing that I just wanted to point out is one cool thing that you can do with instant skills is if you put them on your first click, if they're on cooldown, it will have you walk around and it will just automatically cast it when it's off cooldown. And one thing, I'm not sure if it's intentional or not, but if you start cycloning and then hold your first mount button, then it will keep cycloning even if you release, and then it will also do the Molten Shell whenever it's off cooldown, and it makes you start walking whenever you run out of mana. So you can go like this, and then when you run out of mana, you just automatically start walking and it doesn't make you freeze. But one thing you do have to be careful for is if you are ever silenced and Molten Shell is not on cooldown. Since you're silenced, you can't cast spells, so you can't cast Molten Shell, but it will keep trying to, and so it will stop you from moving, which is why I have a move only. Also, you can't cast spells in town, so it will freeze you because it wants you to cast the spell before you move. So if I go to Oriath and I try to click to move like normal, it's not going to let me because I'm going to have the spell up and I can't cast it. So I have to use move only if I want to Arc Hand in here. But if you do click on somebody, it does go straight to them even though you have a spell. So that's the other way that you can do it. But I'm going to just do a delve for you guys, just kind of show you how the build works. And then I was going to talk about Atlas a little bit. Pretty much I got all my whites done, and I'm working on getting all my yellows. For reds, I'm only doing Gardens, because Gardens drop the Porcupine card, which is the 6-link short bow, which I was going to use for my Caustic Arrow. And then I'm also working on pushing Elder up. So now he just got to a tier 10, so what I'm going to do is kind of push him up into the red zone, at least so I can get my tier 10 and tier 9 done before he despawns, and then I'll work on doing the red ones after I either decide that I'm not going to go for the Porcupine cards because they never drop, other than I've got 2 already, or I just want to get some more completion done. But build's pretty good, it's pretty tanky. If I could get Fortify in, then that would be nice somehow, but I can't quite see how I'm going to do it without either getting a Victara's Charity, so I can drop Poacher's Mark or something else. But because Frenzy Charges do a lot for your minions, especially Herald of Agony, because Herald of Agony just scales super hard with a lot of things because it's just got so much flat physical damage. With if you can keep your stacks up, which I'm pretty good at, since Cyclone has 3 times the base attack speed, pretty much keeps up its attack speed pretty well the entire time on everything. So you can see the stacks right there. I'm pretty much at 40 the entire time, which just keeps my damage up super high on it. And since it does enough damage, I don't need most of my other minions to. All they're out here doing is helping me survive or helping buff my Herald of Agony. Wanted to play Herald of Agony because it's been super strong, and they're probably gonna change the skill a little bit on the next patch, so I thought might as well play it. And then with all the new changes to everything they've made, just everything else on Summoner feels super nice right now, so don't feel like I'm losing out on too much. And then after this, I'll go over the skill tree, kind of to tell you guys why I chose to do Guardian, but mostly I was just inspired by Octavian. He likes Guardian because he's played a lot of them and worked well for him, and I saw it work well for him until he died the first time, which is kind of when I stopped watching him because I was working on other things. But just the ability to get Onslaught for free permanently is pretty nice, and just doing all the increased damage, just you don't notice it till you go to lab and do it, and then you notice how big of a difference it makes. So, but yep, that's pretty much it. I only use Vol Molten Shell on bosses pretty much, and then Vigilant Strike I mostly do for bosses or when I can tell something's going to be dangerous, just to get that Fortify up. But I haven't found too many different dangerous scenarios quite yet that I need to use it on. But I'll show you the skill tree pretty quick. So you go Guardian. First thing I went is Radiant Crusade, gives 20 auras, which is pretty nice, just to help cap out my bonuses. And then if you have at least 5 nearby allies, so minions count as allies, you and allies get Onslaught. So pretty much Carrion Golem with the Phantasms do it, or zombies do it. Early on I was using 3 zombies, Carrion Golem, and then the Herald of Agony. And then with Unwavering Crusade, allies get 30% damage, 15% cast attack and move speed, and then area. And then Intimidate makes them take increased attack damage, and then Unnerved gives increased spell damage. I'm not using Unnerved at all because I don't care too much about my spell damage, but using that for that. And then I'm using Harmony of Purpose. This makes it so enemies can't get charges, which is super nice because enemies with charges is dangerous. It says you and party members share charges. Your minions are not party members. They are allies for this one, but they are not party members. Party members are only other people, but it gives you a 10% chance to gain all the charges on hit. And since Cyclone hits so fast, this is how I get my Endurance and Frenzy charges. I also get power charges, but I'm not critting. So mostly what I went for is I went up here, grab the life, grab precision here for the dexterity, the attack and cast speed, and that. You have the minion cluster here, you have the life cluster here, which is what I'm going for. This gives you +1 fire max res, and then endurance charge here. Resolute technique, just because you want to be very consistent on hitting your cyclone, so you can get those 40 stacks. And then you've got endurance charge here, life here, using this for the increased armor and reduce effective curse and reduce damage from crits. Don't have to worry too much about crits because I can make sure people don't have power charges, but it does even more, so that's pretty nice. Got the minion cluster here. You need the aura effect because Herald of Agony with 4 supports is a 50% aura, and then Hatred is a 50% aura. So if you go here, grab all the reduced mana, then you have enough to cyclone and stuff. And then you got minion cluster here. This one's really nice. It makes minion attack speed apply to you, so you can attack even faster by getting the minion attack speed. You grab the dex here and the dex here just so you can use the gem. You got life here, you've got minion here, you got minion stuff here, life here. This is nice because it has a chance to gain Unholy Might, which is an additional 30% fizz as extra chaos. So doing even more chaos for everybody, as well as some more energy shield and life. And then you get the minion cluster up here with you get +1 zombie here and +1 zombie here. And then Elemental Equilibrium is nice because you don't care about how much damage you're dealing. So as long as you're not doing lightning or cold, then enemies have -50 resistance to the elements. I'm doing fire with my claw, and I'm also doing fire with molten shell. So, and then all my minions are doing lightning and cold with hatred and my gloves, and then lightning with my gloves. And so it's pretty nice because you get -50 resistance there, -10% there, so -60 resistance for my main damage type and minus 50 for cold. So minus 60 for lightning, minus 50 for cold. So on bosses or people with resistance, I'm pretty much nullifying that out and canceling it a little bit over, which is super nice leveling. But I will keep you updated on how this build goes. I'm at 85 now, so I've almost out-leveled my caustic character. I'm planning on just going for life here, and then I've got jewel sockets all around that I'll probably be going for, trying to get some more minion damage in. So I'll keep you guys updated on what I decide to do. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.